Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, our mission is to uncover this really hidden foundational crisis in youth sports. And we're doing it by unpacking a single, just incredibly revealing framework.
Yeah, it really is a game changer of a concept.
Right. So we're drawing all of our insights today from this one article. It's titled Longevity in Sports Series. What is physical literacy and why does it matter? And it's by Julie Hatfield Still.
And, it is just a phenomenal piece of writing. The author brings a lot of structural authority to this topic. I mean, she's the brand executive and the director of coach education at the International Youth Coaching Association.
Oh, wow. So she really knows the landscape.
Exactly. Plus, she founded the Beyond the Game Alliance. So she is analyzing these youth coaching systems from the inside out, like looking at exactly how they're built and, more importantly, where they are completely failing athletes in the long term.
Okay, let's unpack this because if you spend any time around youth sports today, you see the obsession. I mean, we spend endless hours and honestly a small fortune on sports-specific skills.
Oh, the amount of money is staggering.
Right. We hire shooting coaches. We send kids to these like hyper-specialized dribbling camps. We literally have 8-year-olds running agility ladder drills with this crazy focus on speed and passing mechanics.
Yeah, it's like we treat youth sports as if we are engineering professional athletes from the ground up, starting in second grade.
Exactly. But according to this source, underneath all of those drills, underneath the actual gameplay itself, we're completely ignoring the foundation. It's like building a gorgeous multi-million-dollar house directly on top of a sinkhole.
That is the perfect way to put it.
You can have the fanciest roof, like all those specialized skills, but without a solid concrete base, the whole thing is just destined to collapse.
It really is. And, to understand why the house collapses, we first need to define exactly what that concrete base is made of. We're skipping the absolute baseline requirement for athletic development.
Which is what she calls physical literacy, right?
Yes, exactly. So we need to look at Julie Hatfield Still's specific definition of physical literacy. She defines it as the ability, the confidence, and the desire to move in a variety of ways across different environments.
Okay, I noticed she includes the word desire in there. That feels important. It isn't just, a mechanical output.
Right. It's not just what a young athlete can physically do on a court or a field. It's about how they feel about moving. And, crucially, whether they actively choose to keep moving.
Huh. So it's a psychological thing, too.
Totally. A physically literate athlete has this broad functional repertoire. Like, they can run, jump, skip, balance, and change direction effectively. And not just in a drill, but in totally unstructured environments.
Like climbing trees or just playing tag.
Exactly. They have this innate body awareness. They know where their limbs are in space. And most importantly, they actually enjoy movement outside of structured refereed sport.
So push back on this with me for a second on behalf of everyone listening. Wait, if my kid is the best dribbler on the soccer team at age 9, isn't that movement? I mean, why isn't that enough? We see 9-year-olds right now with elite-level footwork.
Oh, sure. Their neuromuscular control on a soccer ball can be objectively incredible.
Right. So why doesn't that highly tuned movement translate into this physical literacy base you're talking about?
Well, it really comes down to the difference between a foundational capability and, honestly, a rehearsed illusion.
A rehearsed illusion. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, yes, dribbling a soccer ball with elite footwork is movement, but it is a highly specialized, rigidly programmed sequence. Physical literacy is the general base that those sport-specific skills are supposed to be built upon.
Right, the concrete for the house.
Exactly. Hatfield still points out that a kid might look really highly skilled early on simply because they've rehearsed one specific soccer sequence like 1,000 times on a perfectly manicured turf field.
But take them out of that environment.
Right. If you take that same 9-year-old off the pitch and ask them to navigate a rocky hiking trail or play a chaotic game of tag where the movement demands are totally unpredictable, their coordination often just falls apart. They completely lack the broad movement vocabulary to sustain real athleticism.
It's like, okay, think of youth sports today. Like, early specialization is just teaching a kid to memorize one specific song on the piano to win a talent show.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Right. Like instead of teaching them how to read music, you just teach them the hand motions for one song. They get on stage, they play it flawlessly, and they look like a total prodigy for a day. But they can't play anything else.
Exactly.
Because they don't know the notes. They aren't actually literate in music. They just learned a trick.
What's fascinating here is that this distinction is the absolute core of the problem. If your goal is just short-term success, you can get away with skipping this step. You can win the talent show.
But if the goal is longevity,
Then it's a disaster. If rote memorization fails the moment the environment changes, why do we keep coaching this way?
because, I mean, let's be honest, we are totally seduced by the short-term trap. The short-term results are entirely intoxicating for the adults involved. We want the kid to make the elite travel team, you know.
Oh, absolutely. We want to win the weekend tournament.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The culture of youth sports actively rushes kids into this sport-specific training long before they've developed their base.
Right. The author details exactly how this plays out in practice. We prioritize early competition, we prioritize highly specialized skill work, and we just become totally obsessed with performance outcomes.
Like, did we win or did you score today?
Exactly. And to get those outcomes, we sacrifice movement quality. We ignore general coordination, and we leave literally zero time for open-ended exploration.
So if we actually shift our goal from that short-term talent show to actual longevity, what happens?
Well, we unlock these four massive benefits for the athlete. These benefits basically act as physical and mental armor.
Let's look at the first two pillars of that longevity,
Yeah.
starting with the physical armor, the injury risk.
Right, so the most immediate benefit of physical literacy is physical resilience. Athletes who have a broad vocabulary of movement are just inherently better protected against injury.
How does that work mechanically? Because, I mean, usually we think of injury prevention as like stretching before a game or doing specific strength exercises in a gym.
Yeah, that's the common perception, but it really comes down to proprioception, which is the central nervous system's ability to sense the body's location, its movements, and its actions.
Okay, so knowing where you are in space without having to look.
Exactly. So a physically literate kid who grew up climbing trees, jumping off swings, wrestling with their friends, they have built thousands of diverse neural pathways.
Because they've been in so many weird physical positions.
Right. Their nervous system knows how to fire muscles in complex sequences to absorb shock. So if they get bumped in midair during a basketball game, their body instinctively knows how to adjust its center of mass, land safely, and disperse that unpredictable force.
Because their brain has already solved a variation of that physical problem in 100 different unstructured contexts before.
Yes. Now consider the highly specialized kid, the one who only knows the perfect uncontested layup drill on a perfectly flat hardwood floor.
Right.
They have built a single, fragile neural pathway. When an unpredictable collision happens, their body just doesn't have the movement vocabulary to adapt in real time. So the joint takes the full brunt of the force.
Oh, wow. So as the intensity ramps up in middle school or high school, that lack of foundational adaptability leaves them so vulnerable.
Incredibly vulnerable to acute injuries, but also repetitive stress injuries because they're just doing the exact same motion over and over.
Okay, so that covers the physical vulnerability. But I got really hung up on this one distinction the author makes regarding mental vulnerability, the confidence piece.
Yeah, this is a huge pillar.
The author says there's a difference between being good and feeling capable.
Hmm.
Can we dig into that? Because to me, if a kid is out there scoring goals and dominating a game, how does a kid who is good at scoring goals not feel capable?
It's such a counterintuitive idea, right? But the author is pointing to the absolute fragility of confidence when it's built entirely on specialized repetition. The good kid, the one who is drilled relentlessly on a specific skill, they rely on a very narrow script of success. Like they know exactly how to receive a pass on their right foot on artificial turf.
Okay, so as long as the game goes exactly according to that rigid script,
Yeah.
they look fantastic.
Right, but the environment never stays static in sports.
Never.
What happens when it's raining and the grass is muddy? Or what happens when the opponent plays a chaotic, unpredictable defense that they've never seen in a drill?
The input doesn't match the algorithm they memorized.
Exactly. And because their success is built on rote memorization rather than deep foundational body trust, they freeze. Their brain panics.
Wow. Their entire identity as an athlete is tied to that one script working perfectly.
Right. And when it fails, they don't know what to do. True capability, like true physical literacy, means trusting your body to figure out the problem in real time.
It's that adaptability again.
Yes. A physically literate athlete feels capable regardless of the specific conditions. They're willing to try a new move, fail at it, and immediately try a different approach. Because their self-worth isn't anchored to a single, highly specialized outcome.
That mental fragility freezing when the game script changes, it doesn't just result in lost games. It makes the kid actively dread playing,
Yeah.
which leads directly into the next two pillars, joy and adaptability.
Burnout is happening at record rates right now.
Yeah. When kids only experience sport through this lens of immense structure, pressure, and rigid performance metrics, they lose something vital.
They really do. The sport essentially becomes a high-stress job for a 10-year-old.
A stressful job where the manager is screaming at you from a folding lawn chair.
Exactly. And they completely lose the intrinsic joy of movement. Physical literacy acts as the antidote to that burnout because, by definition, it reintroduces play, exploration, and creativity.
Which are the actual drivers of long-term fun.
Right. The author stresses these aren't just fluffy, feel-good concepts. They are critical neurological and psychological drivers. If movement is joyful, kids want to keep doing it.
But if it's just a series of punishing drills to win a plastic trophy?
They'll quit the second they are old enough to make their own schedule.
So what does this all mean for the athlete as they grow? Because sports, positions, and bodies constantly change. Let's talk about the physical changes in adolescence.
Oh, this is where adaptability becomes crucial.
Right. How does having a background in play and exploration literally help a 13-year-old survive a massive, awkward growth spurt?
Well, we have to look at how the brain maps the body. During a major growth spurt, bones literally grow faster than the muscles and tendons can stretch to accommodate them.
Right, they get super lanky.
Yeah, a teenager's limbs lengthen, their leverage changes, and their center of gravity shifts upward practically overnight. It is a profound neurological disruption.
Their brain is basically sending signals to a body size that no longer exists.
Exactly. So think about the highly specialized athlete in that scenario. If they've spent 5 years rigidly programming a highly specific set of mechanics, let's say a baseball swing,
Okay.
suddenly their arms are 2 inches longer and their center of mass is higher. That highly tuned swing is completely destroyed. Their entire system breaks down.
They suddenly look clumsy, their timing is off.
Right. They lose their starting spot on the team, and very often they just quit because they feel like their talent vanished.
But they didn't lose their talent. Their hardware just changed and their software couldn't update.
That's a brilliant way to phrase it, because what's fascinating here is how the physically literate athlete responds to that exact same growth spurt.
Because their foundation isn't locked into one highly specialized set of mechanics.
Exactly. They possess general coordination. They've spent years solving diverse movement problems, balancing, climbing, reacting to varied environments. So when their center of gravity shifts, their brain recognizes the disruption and simply says, okay, the leverage feels different, but we know how to figure out balance. We know how to recalibrate.
They aren't locked into one rigid way of moving.
Right. So they adapt to the physical changes. They can transition between sports if they need to, handle the growth spurt, and just keep improving.
They actually have the underlying operating system required to handle the hardware upgrade.
Yes.
But, acknowledging all of this, the injury reduction, the true confidence, the burnout prevention, and the adaptability requires a massive paradigm shift for the adults in the room.
Oh, absolutely. The people actually paying for everything.
Right. The ones managing the schedules, paying the registration fees, driving the minivans. If we want kids to play longer, we have to entirely rewrite the metrics of early success.
We really do. Because, according to the source, success at age 10 is not making the elite travel team. It's not winning the regional championship. And it is certainly not being the most polished, specialized player on the field. Success at that developmental stage is simply moving well,
Building confidence.
building confidence in unpredictable situations, and developing a genuine, intrinsic love for physical activity. Practically, this means structuring practices with more open-ended games and fewer rigid drills.
More variety, less specialization.
Exactly. More positive encouragement for trying new things, and significantly less micromanaging and correcting from the coaches. And above all, immense patience with the messy process of development.
Okay, so I'm going to push back on that with me from the perspective of a modern coach.
Yeah.
Because we live in an era of analytics, personal trainers, and Instagram highlight reels.
Yes, the pressure is real.
You're telling me as a coach, I need to prioritize more games and less drills and actively avoid correcting every mechanical mistake a 10-year-old makes. That feels like giving up control.
I know.
Like, parents are paying good money for instruction. If I just let them play games while the team from the next town over is running perfectly synchronized tactical plays, it feels like we're falling behind.
It is a terrifying prospect for a lot of coaches and parents because it runs counter to literally everything the youth sports industry sells us right now.
Right.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to look at the ultimate stakes of the system we currently have. Like, why do kids actually quit sports? The data is overwhelming. Most kids do not leave sports because they lack raw talent.
They leave because it stopped being fun.
Exactly. They leave because it felt like a punishing job. Their bodies broke down from overuse injuries. They lost their confidence the moment their narrow script failed against better competition. Or they just couldn't re-coordinate their bodies after a growth spurt.
The 4 exact vulnerabilities we just talked about.
Physical literacy is the only developmental framework that addresses all 4 of those massive exit ramps from youth sports. Is it flashy? No. Prioritizing it is not going to yield a viral recruiting video for a 10-year-old.
Right, but it is the critical, defining difference between a child who peaks in middle school and an athlete who actually develops a functional, lifelong relationship with their own body.
And I think that is the ultimate takeaway here. Long-term success in sports, and really just in physical health generally, isn't built on an early specialization hack.
No, it's not.
You can't game the system by drilling a 7-year-old like a professional because you're just building a highly specialized machine without an engine. True, lasting success is built on broad movement, deep-seated confidence, and joy. It might not show up on a stat sheet today, but physical literacy is the defining line between the kid who burns out early and the athlete who goes the distance.
You know, reading through this source, I couldn't help but turn the mirror on ourselves for a second.
Oh.
Yeah. We've spent this entire deep dive talking about physical literacy and how we're failing 10-year-olds in youth sports. But look around at the adults in our society.
Okay. Think about modern gym culture. How many of us view exercise solely as a structured, punishing routine, like a mandatory drill we have to endure on an elliptical machine just because we never actually developed our own physical literacy?
Wow.
If we lack the ability, the confidence, and the desire to simply move joyfully across different unstructured environments, are we suffering from the exact same burnout and lack of adaptability in our adult lives that we're forcing onto our 10-year-olds?
Oh man, that hits incredibly close to home.
Yeah.
The joyless grind of adult fitness might literally be the ultimate proof that we skipped the foundation ourselves.
Really makes you think.
It does. Well, thank you all for joining us on this deep dive. We hope this empowers you to look at the youth playing field and maybe your own workout routine a little differently. Go out, find some joyful, unstructured movement today, and remember to check your foundation. We'll see you next time.